Welcome to Take a Beat meets
Something.
meets Back to the Throne. I'm just trying to get the words right.
There you go.
So my name is Tirza and I'm the digital pastor here at IES. And we are in the midst of a teens conference. And I am here with pastors Daniela and Mario Tahitoe.
Yeah.
Right.
And I love it because we're friends.
Yeah.
So
I don't love it because this is so formal and it's recorded
I know things we say can be used
for public.
against us.
That's right.
That's right.
So the theme of today's Take a Beat is don't get fired.
Oh no.
Don't get
Don't
fired.
get fired, everybody.
Yes. So that is the purpose, the goal, the guideline, the
That's right.
boundaries.
Whatever happens, nobody's getting fired. Not the three of us. Not
Not
you
them.
know, not Andreas. Not the sound people.
No,
nothing. All right. Okay.
no. But I am really excited. We just finished day one.
Yes.
Back to the Throne.
Were you here from the beginning? Registration and everything?
Yes. I am here for moral support.
When you sent us the rundown, we're like, wait, they're there since.
Their teens have a lot of energy.
No, and I can actually see some of the younger teens who are just, this is their first IES Teens event after
From-
kids church.
from preteens.
From preteens.
Uh-huh.
And I can see the look on their faces. They're like, oh, we're not done yet. We're not done. There's more. I was like, yes, this is like the grace of God. There is more for you.
That's right. Never ending.
No. And it's okay. So for the people out there, please introduce yourselves because I know you. I've known you guys for a long time, but they don't.
Oh, okay.
Some of them don't.
All right, babe, make me look good. Who are we?
Mario is the lead pastor of ISKG, and I'm the kids pastor over there. We have fun. We're
we
married.
do. We're married.
We have 3 kids.
One spouse, 3 kids.
So what are your kids' names?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll let my wife do that.
Our firstborn is named Mufasa.
Mufasa, which
yeah.
means,
King.
and his nickname is,
Asa, which means hope.
Hey,
Wow.
Oh,
see?
yeah.
We put a lot of thought about it.
Yes.
And the second one is Maui, meaning, no idea.
By the second time
The
around.
nickname Maui, because it's very short.
Yes,
I mean, what do you want to
yes.
call it? Aui? I mean, like, so anyway, and the third one is Diana. You know, a false goddess from the city of Ephesus. No, it's the.
I was thinking more Wonder Woman,
No, it's actually my mom's name. She passed away before any of the grandkids came along, but by
But
the
it
time
also
we were
means
having
divine. Did you know
kids, I'm sorry.
It also means divine. I looked it up.
You looked it up.
She had to do her research, librarian and all.
Yeah, but basically what we didn't do, what couldn't happen was that by the time we got married 10 years ago. By the way, this is our 10th years anniversary. about
I
a week
remember
ago.
because that means, like, I've been in back in Jakarta for 10 years.
There you go. So what other people would do is that they would take a second honeymoon. We're here for take a beat and back to the throne.
Well, I also remember that for your honeymoon, it was Bali camp.
That's right.
Right?
It's honeymoon and church camp.
Yeah.
We know our calling in our lives.
Yes,
But
this is your life.
yeah, so even though my mom, never got a chance to meet them, we want to honor her. And also, it's also kind of like a race, right?
Yeah.
Who could have a baby girl first? Because our genes, it's really strong. The male line, the Tahitoe line
The
is very strong.
Tahitos, it's
So-
Oh, boys.
We have one boy, we have a second boy, and I was like, if we have another one, please let it have only X chromosomes, and so we can, because whoever would have a girl first, they would name, the baby after my mom.
So I think you
So
didn't
we did it.
tell the teens tonight that what your kids' names, but you mentioned, Mufasa said this, and then you said it's your kid, and then I see these girls in the front row, and they're like, Mufasa, who's Mufasa?
Simba's dad.
And they're like, just the look.
You know
on
what?
their face.
I have to make sure that
You
we
need to
explain
clarify
this.
that
We
because
should.
they're like, And
They didn't say it in Lion King.
No.
Didn't say it in Moana. Right?
no, and you were just, preaching up a storm, and you kept going, and
Yeah.
I just see them. They still can't move on from the fact that you mentioned Mufasa.
Well, I was talking to Titus, right? Titus is the one putting this together with Pastor Josh, obviously. And I said and he's like, okay, this is the time you're allowed to. This is what you're supposed to do. And I was like, I asked for grace for him because I was like, Titus, I don't know these kids. Like, we don't know how they will react to my sermon.
Yeah.
We don't know what they will understand, what point I have to repeat again and again to get them to understand what we're trying to say.
Yeah.
But, so just follow us because we don't know these people. And I told them that, in Papagading, they know me, they know my jokes, they know how I shape my sermon.
Yeah.
So, but
They know the name of our
yeah,
kid.
they know the name of our kid. That one I forgot. That one I completely forgot. So,
No, it was so entertaining for me
So-
just seeing that unfold.
So for those of you who are here and got confused, when we say Mufasa said something, it's not the king of the jungle,
Lion King.
betrayed by his brother.
Scar.
No, Scar. It is actually the son of Pastor Mario and Daniela.
That's
The
right.
firstborn.
Firstborn.
Yeah, and you tag teamed.
That's right. Which is easy.
And I was telling Dea.
Well, not only
Yeah.
tag team, she also did the slides,
Yeah.
the graphics and everything.
No, I loved it. You
Yeah,
know,
it's really good.
I loved working with you. I think the last time we kind of worked together was Dr. Luke invites you to dinner.
That's right.
We did that, and you were doing the graphics and the
No, wait. You? No, not you.
You? yeah, you.
Yeah.
And then we were just working together. I love it, and I think both of you have been like family. That's why I'm super excited. It's not like we have a guest speaker.
We were so upset that it took us this long to be invited for Take a Beat.
That's
We
true.
just thought that we're the best guest ever. I'm just kidding. But
Actually, my idea of when I want to do Take a Beat with you guys is over carne asada.
yeah,
man.
that's right.
Oh,
I really think,
Pastor
first of
Mario
all,
makes really good carne asada. Both of them, you just go there and you sit while they cook, and then
Yeah.
you munch, and then you eat again.
and then we keep talking,
Then
and
we
then
keep
another meal
talking.
comes
Yes,
out.
mhm.
That's right. So I think one of the things that is interesting about the concept of having a podcast or something like that, the thing that people fake and it fails all the time is the relationship between the people who are talking. I think a lot of times
Yeah.
when it's okay once in a while you have somebody that, if a guest speaker comes in or, somebody from AGWM or a guest JA came in and they want to share something, it's fine, of
Yeah.
course. But I always enjoy podcasts when it's two friends who kind of like open up their lives,
Yeah.
and again, without getting fired, but just being honest in front of the camera, in front of the mic, and just, discuss what they would discuss in front of carne asada.
Yes. See. Okay, I do have a question for you. So during this first night of conference thing, you used to be one of the teens pastors here.
That's right.
So it went Pastor Mario, and then who is it?
Pastor Mark.
Pastor Mark,
Mhm.
and then Pastor Anthony, and then me, and
That's
now
right.
it's Pastor Josh, right?
Mhm. But before Pastor Mario, you guys were actually in the church.
Teenagers,
Yeah.
yes. And Dea was in
Mhm.
teens and was one of the teens. So how does it feel like?
Wait. It's not just there, right?
No,
It's you, Pastor Tirza,
me and
Pastor
Pastor
Josh.
Josh,
Arya, and
Ben.
Christy, who is working
Christy.
as staff now in CTK.
Yes. Who else?
So,
I'm just-
there's a lot of people
Just-
who are doing either part-time or full-time ministry these
Yeah.
days,
Yeah.
coming from that group. It's pretty special. It was a pretty special group. Yeah. And I had my eye on one of them already. Just one, but
yeah, don't collect them all.
it's not Pokemon. Eh?
No. So how does it feel coming back to IES Teens?
You spent more time there. I was there for 3 months, by the way.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
How weird was it?
no, because I don't think they remember me, but most of those kids I used to teach them in kids church as well. So when
Okay.
they were when they were in the 3 to 5 class.
Well,
so
we saw Chahaya. I mean,
she was a baby, right?
I mean, James Rhodey was there.
Right. So
And
most of them I know
he's
as babies.
graduating.
That's right. So I feel really old, actually.
Q is in college.
I know.
Yeah.
That was crazy. I mean, for some of us here, we've known Q since, he existed on planet Earth, right? And
Yeah.
it's just, it is really interesting to go back there and realize, like, I mean, Tanya was there.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like full circle. Weedy was one of the leaders when we were in teens.
and I was Weedy best man.
Yeah.
And I was preaching and Tanya was there. Dian's daughter was there, Chahaya.
Yeah. Mhm.
My mom sang for Dian's engagement party, so Chahaya's parents' engagement party. I played piano for their wedding, and Dia was Chahaya's kids pastor. So
Yeah.
it was like not just Chahaya, right? Both
Kirana,
kids.
yeah.
Kirana.
I mean, they're like Christiana, like sisters, close in age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Curly hair.
Curly hair. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we're like, it's weird and it's so natural at the same time.
Yeah, because it's cool to see them have grown up physically and also, spiritually.
Spiritually,
It's
obviously.
so cool.
And it's really interesting to have the privilege, and it is a privilege because
Yes.
all three of us went to school somewhere else. All three of us ministered somewhere else,
Yeah.
and a lot of times we're only there for one season of people's lives.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
right.
to be back here, like I said, with all the relationships with not only them but their parents and
Yeah.
everything like that, and some of them, with their grandparents, like with Pastor Josh. I mean, like I did ministry with his grandfather.
Yeah.
I was
dear.
there. We were there when his father passed away. We were
We
there.
all were there.
Yeah, it's a privilege to be in people's life in
I mean,
different
you were there
seasons
when
of their lives.
my dad passed away as well.
That's
It's
right.
like
Your mom was during COVID, so
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
couldn't be there. But
yes.
we were there. We were there when you preached on that evening after
Mhm.
your mom passed away.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you were there when our kids were born. So it's kind of like it's different people, different seasons, and
Mhm.
to have the opportunity to see them again.
Yeah.
Some of the kids and also Josh being a pastor, Lord Jesus. I'm
So
like,
I remember 10 years ago when we're like, oh, Pastor Josh, like, don't call him pastor. Like to the point where I had to call him and Arya, the P word, because he did not want to hear the word pastor.
While with all due respect to Mark, with all due respect to Anthony, it is Arya, but especially Josh, he was their pastor before they call him pastor.
Yeah, because pastor, I think sometimes it's not a title, it's a function.
Well, obviously, for your woman, no, I'm just kidding. It's another topic for another time.
Another time.
But obviously,
Don't worry, we have tomorrow.
We have
to
tomorrow again.
record.
but for me, the thing that is really important is like we said, like to see people like Josh, who's here because the grandparents were here,
Yeah.
who's here because his mom was working here, but making that commitment, making that step because
Yeah.
God calls him and because the church gave the opportunity.
Yeah.
That's what the church
Amazing.
is all about. It's
That's
really
right.
amazing. So yeah, if you say how it feels to be here, it always feels like we come home.
I think that's I've come home 3 times. So it's for tonight's.
Don't get fired.
Don't get fired.
Don't get fired.
Don't get fired. Anyway, but yeah, it was really it feels like coming back home. And again, it's also God's grace that her parents were ready to pick up the kids. The in-laws were also ready. So we didn't just, a lot of times if we don't know the people, we just come preach, we go home, right?
Yeah.
But we were here since what, 3?
3, because we had to check in the hotel first.
Yeah, we were here 3-4 o'clock, and we saw Gigi's testimony. We heard Pastor Dave Q&A. Heard theory for the first time
Really?
teaching. Yeah, because we never had the opportunity. I mean, and Pastor Anthony also. It's been a while since I heard Pastor Anthony speaks. He's so much better, by the way. I mean, it is. That sounds like a bad thing, but no, I mean, like, I just want to compliment him. I think he's more confident. He's more, it's just so much better. I mean, like in every step of the way, I'm
There's
very proud of him.
growth in all of us. Wonderful.
Absolutely, it should be
Praise
like
the
that. I
Lord.
mean, the reason I don't say it about Pastor Theory is like I wasn't here when he started, so I don't know the improvement he made. But I was here when Pastor Anthony was feeding Pastor Dave's fish.
He still feeds Pastor Dave's fish. Actually, he
Does
just
he
said
have
that.
fish?
Yeah.
I didn't know that you still have
There's still fish.
There's still fish. So, and then he keeps working on his craft. I think he's taking classes, right?
Yeah.
And you can see, the growth in him. And I was there. I was taking video of him, taking picture of him. And I was like, wow, this guy, God is really using him in a very powerful way today. I mean, we know that, he has the talent.
Yeah.
But, at that time, 10 years ago, until now, it's just a privilege to be able to come back and you just go like, whoa, wow, he's so much better at what God wants him to do. It's a blessing.
Yeah, and I mean, I was telling Dea, I was like, I haven't heard her preach since before you guys were married. Because after that, you were pastoring Klapagaring. I was here and had to, preach here. So I never, the paths never can cross.
Well, let me ask you this, because I know the answer from her. Like, don't you think that it takes a certain gift to speak to the younger generation?
I think so, yeah.
I think they should have a Duolingo for preaching to kids and teenager. I think it's like another language. And and you and Josh, obviously, you have that gift. Because remember, I didn't go to a teens church. I didn't go to church until I was an adult. So, my wife has that gift. So she's pretty good, right? I mean, I think she did great.
Oh, yeah, I absolutely
Andreas,
love
didn't
it.
she do good? There you go. So, yeah.
Thank you.
She didn't want to do it. But
Oh, I love that both of you did it. And I thought, at first, when I was looking at the lineup, I was like, oh, Dea's doing one night and then Mario's doing another night. And I was like, oh, and then they're just like, no, they're tag team. I'm like, wow, this is going to be good because they tag team cooking as well.
Yeah,
But-
we love doing things together.
Yeah, and again, what I'm good at and what she's good at, a lot of them are similar, but still unique in our own way. And if we switch it, she probably can do my part. I wouldn't know how to do it practically. I mean, like the way that she talk about. I mean, share with. I mean, let's talk about it. I mean, like what did you share that story about? Being in control, about your sister.
Yeah, because when we were both my sister and I were blessed to be able to attend university in the States, and
The three of us went to university together.
the
Same
Pastor
university as
Chase
Pastor Dave and Pastor Mike, if I'm not mistaken.
and James
James
too.
is going there too.
Yes, and Isabel
Isabel
Kenny.
went there.
Yeah, so we're so blessed. But when Christy is older than me by 14 months, and so she was already there, did her own thing, was
Yeah, I was thinking when you were saying that, I was thinking, yeah, she set up an account for the phones, and all three of us were on the same phone plan.
yeah, she's
Who's Social
amazing.
Security.
Mike Rody.
That's right.
This is amazing.
And he has never seen me at that point.
Wow,
He
that's
didn't
insane.
know me.
Yeah. God bless Mike.
Yeah, but so Christy's so good at just organizing and doing planning things, and I'm so used to be the baby of the family, the younger sister. And so by the time I got there, and we our first year we had to be in the dorm, so she was my roommate, and so I was just like, okay. So Christy says, okay, let's do this, and I'm like, all right, sure.
And she's very organized
Yeah,
as a person.
super duper organized,
Yeah.
and I'm not at all. So it's nice to
I
have
just
that
wanna let you know.
stability.
And now she's married to me. She became the stabilized one in the family. I'm even
Yeah.
more chaotic.
Yeah, so it's really nice to have that stability, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, sure, and so I didn't even realize it until she left that was kind of our thing, like
The dynamic.
the dynamic
Yeah.
of the relationship, and because after the dorm we shared an apartment, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, and so that was also Christy's doing, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, and I'm just I'll follow along. But when she left, I'm like, oh, I gotta find a roommate. I gotta, I was started to worry about
Get my
this.
life together.
Yeah, but then when that happened, I was like, it's like the world is a different color
A whole
almost.
new world.
Yeah, it really does feel like that. And so I was telling the teens, like, if you wanna take control of your life. Don't, really try to be in control instead of making my mistake, waiting for 3 years to actually be like, you do you, right?
Yeah.
I was basically doing Christy's little sister or slash little shadow instead of being me. And so, and for teens, that's a huge thing. I feel like that's so hard to do
Yes.
when you're in that stage. Like, you don't really realize it most of the time. Like, I didn't realize it.
Yeah, and I think it's easier for this generation because, if they need something, they can go online, to look for answers or to ask somebody else for answers,
Yeah.
right? But, when I was there, obviously that was not available for me. When you were there, probably it's not as available as it is
Yeah,
today.
you can't just scroll through TikTok and ask your
Yeah.
life's
So,
biggest questions.
so basically, I mean, like, my wife just came out with that story. And it's a great explanation of what we're trying to say today, which is that God is not only the creator, he has allowed you to be creators as well.
Because I love that you brought this up, that we're created in the image of God, and it's not about the nose thing or the like have two eyes, the human personification thing, and it's not about personality of it's about that creation aspect
Correct.
of it.
He creates something and it is good. That's what we know. I mean, like, me, right? I don't like for people to read the Bible and listen to my message and have to understand, like, it's kind of like, some people enjoy watching movie if they have to, read like 2-3 books before watching the movie. I'm not that guy. I don't do that for my sermons either.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you read it, but if you read it honestly and you read it with, a blank state of mind, that's the only way that passage makes sense.
Yeah.
You're created in God's image, and the only thing that God did the whole time was creating and making things good.
Yeah.
And imagine if, people who are in their 12, they're 12, they're 13, they're 14, if they already understand that I have that responsibility, I have that privilege, I have that gift in my life. I mean, they would make, like what my wife said, by the way, better. I didn't even come up with that, but better decisions.
Yeah.
Like that's just so much, like to let people know that you have that power of God inside of you. Because come on, we're Pentecostals, right?
Yes.
We talk about the power of God. We talk about healing. We talk about prophecy. We talk about all these gifts. But let's talk about creativity. Let's talk about, creativity in making things good.
Yeah.
And letting these kids know that that's you.
Yeah.
And Genesis 1 verse 1 talking about the Spirit of God hovering. And like
By the way, have you heard some people say it, hoovering? I keep on
As
saying,
in, like, vacuuming.
Hoover is vacuum.
the Spirit of God is hovering.
And I almost say Hoover today because I was like hover.
If you had, I would have
I would
lost
I
that.
would lose it too. So, anyway, but you were saying, the Spirit of God was there,
So
hovering. Yeah.
sometimes we box the Spirit of God into the whole discernment and
Yes.
the gift of tongues, the gift of this. The first act of the Spirit of God was to create order out of chaos.
Correct.
To take control and be creative. That was
Correct.
the first act of the Spirit of God from Genesis, right?
Mm-hmm. And we didn't have time, right? I mean, we only have so much limited time, but the way he created it to separate the things, that's powerful, right? I mean, it's kind of like, I use the example because we're musicians. By the way, my wife's been taking piano lessons with the kids.
With Asa.
With Asa, who is not a Lion King character, who's our son. But basically, like when kids look at these black and white keys, they go bang, 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 bang. No rhythm, no melody, no harmony. But, once you can separate this notes with that notes at this time instead of that time, then it becomes music.
Yes.
Once there's melody, once there's harmony, rhythm, it becomes music, not just chaos.
Yeah.
And I think that's, our life. Like for a lot of us, we have no control over our finances, over our schedule, and here's the thing, we will never have control over what people will say about us.
Yeah.
But what we have is a control how they affect us.
That's true.
I don't know. I think the kids need to hear that. I think
Yeah.
adults need to hear that.
Yeah, I think that is important. I'm like, actually, I was sitting there and I was thinking, is this session being recorded? And I think the answer is no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
It's okay. You can preach the message.
Okay.
Don't look at it in a what you call it in the commentary, because it was really God just like spoke to me and just said like, look, read it again. Who am I? I'm a creator.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a creator. I make things happen and I make things good.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's who we are.
Yeah.
That's who we are. And again, I mean, we're sitting here, you know, we have somebody who's talented in music. We have two people talented in, you know, in video making and picture taking. It's limited to that these days.
Yeah.
But, you know, you look at those guys. I'm sorry, but I look at some of those kids, they will never be musician. I mean, they sing well, but they'll never be musician. But that's not what it's all about.
Yeah.
It's about saying like, yeah, God is with me. I have this ability to make things good out of nothing, to bring orders out of chaos, to take control of my life. Not other people's life, but my life.
Yeah.
And that's a powerful message for kids.
Not just kids, adults. Can we imagine like followers of Christ, Christians, like coming into their own lives and
Yeah.
creating good out
Yes.
of like all of the bad things that the world has kind of
Yeah.
produced?
Or what the world expects.
Yeah.
I mean, we always talk about it and we share it with, you know, with the teens today. Like,
Yeah.
you know, with all due respect to the other pastors, but, you know, if somebody else started IES Club Pagaring at that time of that season of IES Jakarta's life, it's probably not going to work out well. It took somebody who's just like, let's do something different. With money, no money. With people, no people. Just by the grace of God, we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know,
And even like what you were saying to the teens tonight, both of you are like, you know, like I'm not gonna settle for this. Like it's you and me, God. That. And I think that's just a change in perspective that not just the teens, but we all need to have.
and we need to be reminded of, because
Yeah.
sometimes, you know, I mean, like the fact that you're doing a podcast, we could have done this podcast like 10 years ago when we were doing Dr. Luke.
Yeah.
Because obviously we had the skills.
Yes.
We figured out how to do it. You know, that's the first time I do video, right?
No, I remember because you were like, you come in just like blustering. You're like, I think we got this.
I think we got this. But, you know,
That is still one of my favorite series, by the way.
we could have done it since then, but it took somebody like you who's like, okay, this is what we're going to do. Nobody else is doing it this way. I'm going to do it this way. Nobody else in the church is doing it. We're going to do it. And you did it. And we were so happy that you do it, because we didn't hear it from you. We just saw it in our YouTube feed. Right?
Yeah,
Vic?
it popped up. On
Actually, when I was grading, I was like, this is just an idea. I don't know if this is going to be a flop or not. Like, let's try this. And then now, like 20-something episodes later, it's still going on.
It's 20 episodes before we got it right. I'm still very upset with this. But what do you think, babe? I mean, like, because again, I have to stop and I want you guys to listen from my wife, because the two of us, you know, you're an only child, I'm the oldest child. I mean, from the get-go, we're kind of like, okay, we got to figure things out.
Yeah.
Dea is built differently. So
Yeah.
what do you think? I mean, like,
I mean, one of the examples I gave the teens was also that is super relatable. Is for all of us, like you know, one of the things that we can take. If you're in control, if you're in charge, you don't want to be stuck. And it's, you know, one of the example I gave was being stuck because of COVID, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all had to be stuck at them. All the things
yeah.
they were. When I said you guys
when
said
you said that the reaction, I think it was very visceral.
Yeah.
From the team.
Yeah, it's
I mean, like, can
we-
you imagine if we're that age and we couldn't do nothing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
some people graduating on Zoom. That was like,
Yeah, that
as a
was-
teens pastor, that was one of the saddest.
I'm sorry.
things
The
ever.
graduation is not that big of a deal. The prom?
The prom,
there was
yeah.
no prom.
No prom. Yes, I was telling them, like, you know how, you know, when we were stuck in having to quarantine and having to stare at your screen while
Yeah.
doing school, and everyone was like, it's so frustrating, right?
Yeah.
But if you get to be we were just doing it before we left today, like, because we were stuck at home. Like we had to learn so many new skills, and one of it was me cutting everyone's hair. And so today, Mario,
Really?
Yeah, because I was afraid to go to
So
the barber.
Asa's
Yes.
locks are all you.
Asa, Maui, and now a daughter, Diana.
Yeah.
So 3 boys and a girl.
and
And your own hair.
yeah,
No, how do you do that?
I watched YouTube videos where you can
YouTube.
YouTube.
How do you think? Like the things I told Easy, where did I learn it? It's from YouTube, man.
That's right. We had to learn so many things,
Yeah.
right? We had to do so
The
many new
cooking,
skills.
the video
cooking,
making,
video
everything.
making.
And I mean
Editing.
and remember, I don't know if you were already here. Remember that IS Klapagaring started trying to do online church. And I invite everybody to come and try it out. And remember that?
Yeah.
And then the next week, nobody can do any church
Anything.
except online church.
Yeah.
It's by the grace of God.
We created the online, like the IES is online thing in a week.
Yeah. And you asked me to do it
with
because
very little sleep.
I
remember that.
Here's I still remember. It took us 2 years to train the camera people to figure out what the concept we're going to do, and then a week right after, not a week later,
Not
but
even,
at least like at the most two weeks, the pandemic happened, or at least the pandemic was already happening, but they shut down churches.
Yeah.
If we didn't, if we just decided to get stuck, if we didn't learn all these new skills, there wouldn't be a church.
Yeah.
And that's crazy.
And I think
And sorry. And speaking of like being creative, because this is also very important. And when we're stuck, we always say, if I have this opportunity, I would do this. How many people during the pandemic say, if I can get out of this place, I'm gonna start going to life group. Pret. You don't go to life group. You still you're still like, I cannot. For some people, both pastors and regular people, you said that once the pandemic is over, I'm gonna and you're not being creative. You're doing the same thing what you have done, what your senior, your mentor, whatever have done all their lives, and everything is the same. We cannot go back the way it used to be. We have to be creative. I'm serious.
And also, I think, just kind of, I'm already getting like, your time's up. But I really think that as Christians, as the church, it is in our DNA to be creative. And so I think we have wasted so much time being complacent with how stuck we are with different things.
and not even admitting that we're stuck.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
True.
If you don't realize that you need a supernatural intervention from God in your ministry, in your life, nothing happens.
That's right.
You get creative because you're like, okay, we have to do something. But if that sense of urgency is not there, then it will never happen. And I want those kids to know, and all the adults to know, that it is urgent.
Yes.
Because otherwise, everybody's life is gonna be the same. You're gonna do what your parents do. You're gonna do what your parents' do, and that's not fun.
And that is not how we are actually wired to be.
Yeah.
Like you were talking from Genesis. That's not how we are created to live.
That's right.
But that's day 2, though. I mean,
Okay,
why
okay.
is it-
I'm
why
getting
is it-
ahead of
you're
myself.
Going ahead.
Sorry.
But basically, we close the session by asking, are you in control or you're being controlled by something?
Yeah.
If you're not creative, I promise you, your schedule controls you. Your career planning or your career path controls you.
Yeah.
You name it, whatever it is, right? Your image of yourself, the way people talk about you, that controls you.
Yeah.
But if you're in control of the way you want to assess your success, the way you want to do your ministry, the way you want to do your family.
Yeah.
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 I mean, think about it. Some of those kids will have to go to a good university that probably wouldn't fit them,
Yeah.
just because everybody says it's good,
Yeah.
right? I mean, like, you guys love Northwest.
Mhm.
You love Northwest. You were blessed there. She went there. You had a life there, right? I mean, you were blessed.
Yes.
It's not in the top 100. I don't think so,
No.
right? It's just silly. I mean, like, you would go to this place. You would do this in your career. You would do this in your ministry just because that's the way people have been doing it. Why? And let's just put it this way. Unless our generation, even though I'm 10 years older,
I was like, sorry, what?
Izzy's generation, like Izzy and I can be Izzy's dad, by the way. But unless our generation, we be creative about things, then we're never gonna get anywhere because it's not about the money. If it's about the money, we wouldn't have a church.
Yeah.
If it's about the numbers of people, we wouldn't have
have a church.
Or even
So basically, give us money and send us your people.
Remember, we're trying not to get fired. And I think, like Andreas has been telling me, okay, we're done. Wrap it up. Wrap it up.
But we'll come back tomorrow and,
Yes.
and we're going to talk about it. How do you make sure that those things are not in control of you, but you're exercising creativity and
That's
to
right.
take control of that?
Yeah. So
This is fun, by the way.
I know. So tune in because tomorrow, well, next time you see Take a Beat, it's
That's
going to be
right.
us again, and we're going to talk some more about this and other things.
Yeah, maybe we bring Josh. Or
Oh,
somebody else.
oh.
We're here, right? So we can
okay.
have a lot of mics. we might not get anywhere important, but it's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. All right. So tune in for Take a Beat meets Back to the Throne.
That's right.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.